Okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever found a sequel that didn't just, meet expectations, but actually soared past the original?
Yeah.
Really redefined what a follow-up film could even be?
It's rare, but it happens.
Or maybe you've watched a movie that, at first glance just seemed like a simple dark comedy.
Right.
Only to discover when you really look closer, upon a deeper look, I guess, there are all these layers of satirical genius, unexpected emotional stuff, and even like surprising social commentary.
Absolutely. And I think the film we're talking about today fits that perfectly.
I know I have. And today, we're taking a journey into just such a film, one that really found its voice and definitely its audience over time.
Indeed. Today we're plunging into the delightfully macabre, the endlessly witty, and honestly the surprisingly insightful world of Addams Family Values. That's a 1993 supernatural black comedy film.
Yep.
It's a movie that, well, initially it had a bit of a complicated reception, didn't it? But it has since gained a really significant retrospective acclaim. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack precisely why it deserves every bit of that praise and maybe figure out why it continues to resonate so strongly with audiences, decades later.
That's exactly it.
Right.
Our source material for this exploration is a pretty comprehensive Wikipedia article on the film. It's really a treasure trove of fascinating details from behind the scenes, its box office journey, its critical evolution, all that stuff.
It really covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, so our goal is to go way beyond just the surface level plot, right?
Yeah.
We want to extract those truly fascinating nuggets of knowledge about its production, its initially mixed but now lauded reception, and its enduring cultural legacy. We'll explore how this film managed that rare feat of being both, well, a box office underperformer in its time, and yet now it's like a burgeoning critical darling.
It's quite the turnaround.
Totally. So you're about to become intimately well-informed on one of the most uniquely charming, darkly funny, and I'd say subtly subversive films of the 1990s.
Okay, let's begin by setting the stage for this wonderfully twisted tale. Addams Family Values, fundamentally, it's identified as a 1993 American supernatural black comedy.
Got it.
And it was a direct follow-up, a sequel to The Addams Family, which had come out just 2 years before in 1991.
Right, that first one was a big hit.
It was, and the director's chair was once again filled by Barry Sonnenfeld. After the success of the first film, he was apparently given, a much longer leash to really lean into the more macabre and satirical elements this time around.
Oh, interesting. So he had more freedom.
Seems like it. And the screenplay, well, it was brilliantly crafted by Paul Rudnick. He brought a truly distinct voice, building on those iconic characters originally created, of course, by Charles Addams.
And what a cast they brought back. Familiar, yet, refreshed. We saw the return of almost all the main cast members from the original, which, as any sequel fan knows, is just crucial for continuity and, well, audience comfort, right?
Absolutely essential. You had Angelica Houston returning as the captivating Morticia. Her elegance, that gothic charm, it's utterly unmatched.
Totally iconic.
And Raul Julia, with his incredible passion and intensity, reprising Gomez. Christopher Lloyd was back as the wonderfully eccentric Uncle Fester.
Can't imagine anyone else.
Right, and Christina Ricci, even at such a young age, she truly embodied Wednesday with this chilling precociousness that was already becoming iconic.
So you really define that role.
Then you had Carol Struycken as Lurch, Jimmy Workman as Pugsley, and Christopher Hart bringing Thing to life. It all contributed to that familiar, beloved family unit we knew.
But this film wasn't just like a retread, was it? It introduced some really pivotal new blood that significantly shapes its unique identity.
Precisely. The new additions were absolutely vital to the film's success and its lasting impact. Joan Cusack, for instance, delivered an absolutely memorable, career-defining performance as Debbie Jellinsky.
Oh, we have to talk about Debbie.
We will, definitely. A character we'll dive into in depth shortly, but one who instantly became, a comedic villain for the ages.
For sure.
And Carol Kane stepped in as Grandmama Addams. That role was previously held by Judith Malina in the first film. Kane brought her own delightfully quirky and slightly off-kilter energy to the character, which actually blended seamlessly with the established family dynamic.
Yeah, she fit right in.
So these additions weren't just new faces. They injected fresh comedic possibilities and new narrative avenues that really pushed the film beyond its predecessor.
And this brings us to a really crucial point about the film's unique identity, that intentional shift in tone. The first Addams Family film, it was certainly dark and eccentric, but It kind of maintains something of the madcap approach of the classic 1960s sitcom, right?
Yeah, it had that feel. Quirky, maybe a little spooky, but still pretty broadly accessible.
Exactly.
Mm.
Addams Family Values, though, it feels like it made a conscious decision to veer into much, much darker territory.
Uh-huh.
Very dark and macabre laughs, as our source puts it. It really pushed the boundaries, didn't it?
It absolutely did. It felt much more subversive, almost daring its audience to laugh at stuff that's genuinely unsettling.
Yeah.
And this immediate tonal shift is just crucial for understanding its unique identity and why it resonated so differently, with audiences and critics. It embraced its Gothic roots with a sharper, more cynical, and frankly more biting satirical edge. The humor became less about simple situational comedy and more about, challenging societal norms through sheer absurdity.
Right. And the film centers around, three main narrative threads that kind of intertwine brilliantly.
That's right. You've got the family's rather peculiar adjustments to the arrival of their new baby, Pubert, which is far from your typical joyous occasion.
Definitely not.
Then there's the hilariously ill-fated marriage of Uncle Fester to the aforementioned serial killer, Debbie Jellinsky. That becomes the central conflict, really.
The main engine of the plot.
And then there's the surprisingly poignant and often just side-splitting subplot of Wednesday and Pugsley being sent off to summer camp. And that really serves as the film's primary vehicle for its broader social satire.
Yeah, the camp stuff is legendary. And, just on a more somber note, it's important to acknowledge that this film holds a particularly bittersweet significance for fans.
Yes.
Addams Family Values was Raul Julia's final theatrical film released during his lifetime. He would later appear posthumously in Street Fighter in 1994, but this was the last time audiences saw his incredible talent on the big screen while he was still with us.
It really adds something, knowing that.
It does. Knowing that he tragically passed away less than a year after its release, it just adds this profound layer of gravitas to his already passionate, vibrant, and utterly captivating performance as Gomez. His dedication to the character, even as, his health was declining, it truly shines through and makes his portrayal in this film all the more iconic.
It's a wonderful final performance in many ways. Okay, moving into the heart of the film, let's talk about the twisted tapestry of its plot, not just recounting it, but looking at how each major beat contributes to the film's unique humor and that underlying satire.
Right, digging deeper.
It begins, as, all good Addams stories should, with new life specifically, the arrival of Gomez and Morticia's new baby, Pubert. What's fascinating here is how the film immediately sets up the family's unconventional dynamics. It challenges our very notion of what, normal sibling love even looks like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's certainly not a typical joyous arrival, is it? The humor here is just pitch black right from the start.
Instantly.
We see Wednesday and Pugsley's repeated and hilariously elaborate attempts to bond with their new brother, which for them means these hilariously unsuccessful attempts to kill him.
It's their way of showing affection, I suppose.
I guess so. From dropping a cannonball on his crib to, pushing him off the roof in a stroller. Their efforts are relentless and just so creatively macabre.
And their parents' reaction.
That's the genius part. It's this mild, loving rebuke. They seem almost disappointed that their children aren't succeeding in their murderous endeavors rather than, being horrified by the intent.
Right, try harder next time, dear.
Exactly. It perfectly encapsulates the Addams upside-down world where, murderous inclination is met with affectionate disappointment. It highlights their truly unique and utterly unconventional definition of family love.
This wonderfully warped family dynamic is then immediately challenged by the introduction of a pivotal new character, Debbie Jellinsky.
Terrific.
She's presented as the newly hired nanny for Pubert. Seems sweet, bubbly, cheerful on the surface. The very picture of conventional American wholesomeness.
The total opposite of the Addamses.
Exactly. However, we, the audience, we quickly learn her true nature. She's a cunning serial killer who marries rich bachelors, then dispatches them, often in ridiculously elaborate ways, just to collect their inheritances.
The Black Widow.
Precisely. And her eyes quickly land on the wealthy, kind-hearted, and, let's face it, incredibly naive Uncle Fester.
Poor Fester.
But Wednesday, with her, unnerving perceptiveness and that cynical worldview, she becomes almost immediately suspicious of Debbie's intentions, even when her parents are completely charmed. And that drives a significant portion of the main plot.
Yeah, Wednesday sees right through her.
It's the perfect setup for a clash of values. The genuine, albeit twisted, love of the Addams versus Debbie's pure materialistic greed.
And to maintain her cover, and more importantly, to get rid of Wednesday and Pugsley, who see right through her saccharine facade, Debbie cleverly orchestrates their departure to summer camp.
A master manipulator.
Totally. She tricks Gomez and Morticia into believing the kids want to go, which, I mean, knowing Wednesday's inherent disdain for anything resembling normalcy, that's almost an impossible feat on its own. It's a subtle but brilliant setup for the film's most overtly satirical sequence.
Which leads us to Camp Chippewa. And this place serves as a brilliant, stark, and utterly hilarious contrast to the Addams macabre world.
Yeah.
It's managed by the relentlessly bubbly and aggressively wholesome counselors, Gary and Becky Granger. Played to perfection by Peter MacNicol and Christine Baranski. They just embody that saccharine, forced cheerfulness and insidious conformity that the Addams children naturally recoil from.
They're horrifying in their own way.
They really are. The camp is a microcosm of everything the Addams family stands against, making it the ideal setting for some truly biting satire.
And immediately, Wednesday and Pugsley are singled out, right? For their macabre appearance, their morbid interests, their general disdain for anything resembling traditional fun.
Total outcasts.
They are the ultimate outcasts in this aggressively cheerful environment. And you have the snobbish, entitled Amanda Buckman, played by Mercedes McNabb, serving as their smug, conventional foil.
The perfect antagonist for Wednesday at camp.
It's a classic fish-out-of-water scenario, but with the Addams, it feels like the fish are the ones trying to, pollute the water, exposing the hypocrisy and superficiality of the world around them.
Well put. And it also introduces us to Joel Glicker, played by the wonderfully cast David Krumholtz. He's the nerdy, allergic bookworm, a fellow outcast who, against all odds, becomes quite attracted to Wednesday.
A brave soul.
Indeed. This forms an unexpected yet wonderfully endearing alliance between the three misfit campers. Their bond is forged in shared misery, particularly within the confines of the notorious Harmony Hut.
Ugh, the Harmony Hut.
A truly inspired piece of satirical set design.
Oh, the Harmony Hut. This is one of the film's most memorable and darkly comedic elements. That's where the trio is forced to endure hours of wholesome family entertainment movies and television shows, like Annie and The Sound of Music.
For our beloved goths and poor Joel, it's depicted as a form of pure torture.
It really is. It's a hilarious depiction of how conventional happiness and forced positivity can be deeply unsettling, even psychologically damaging, for certain individuals who don't fit the mold.
And they feign cheerfulness just to get out, right? Putting on the most disturbing, wide-eyed smiles you've ever seen.
Feel creepy.
Just to escape its oppressive normalcy. It's a brilliant critique of that forced cheerfulness and conformity so prevalent in certain aspects of American culture.
Totally. And this psychological torment, it eventually leads to arguably one of the most iconic and critically lauded scenes in the entire film. The Thanksgiving play, A Turkey Named Brotherhood.
Ah, yes.
The play. Wednesday, much to her disgust, is cast as Pocahontas, a role that forces her to participate in this, sanitized, idealized, and historically inaccurate version of American history.
She initially agrees to participate, kind of biding her time, but during the performance, well, she absolutely refuses to conform to the saccharine whitewash narrative presented by Gary and Becky.
And this is where the film truly showcases its satirical brilliance. It's Wednesday's true moment of rebellion. It's powerful, shocking, and utterly satisfying an outburst against forced historical revisionism and cultural conformity.
It's amazing.
With the help of Joel, Pugsley, and the other outcasts they've inspired, like a literal army of disgruntled misfits, she unleashes her true defiant self. They capture Amanda, Gary, and Becky by igniting the Pilgrim set.
Setting the whole thing on fire, yeah.
Transforming the saccharine play into this chaotic, fiery spectacle of liberation. It's such a powerful moment of embracing your authentic self, no matter how dark or unconventional, in the face of forced conformity.
And then, in a truly momentous and frankly almost shocking development for Wednesday,
Right.
we get her first incredibly awkward and utterly charming kiss with Joel. It signals this burgeoning, if, unconventional romance.
Yeah, a little spark.
A moment of genuine, albeit darkly tinged, affection. Following their triumph, Joel, who is clearly under Wednesday's spell, declares his commitment to ensure the camp's permanent destruction.
As one does.
Naturally. As Wednesday and Pugsley make their grand, triumphant escape, having stolen the campsite's van, this entire Camp Chippewa arc is just fantastic. Biting satire of forced positivity, the tyranny of the majority, and the absurdities of trying to mold unique individuals into palatable societal norms.
It's such a clear example of how the film elevates itself beyond just simple slapstick comedy.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, back home, Fester's plight continues, forming that second major narrative thread.
Right. Debbie's plan is in motion.
He and Debbie get engaged, and their wedding is just a masterclass in contrasting emotional expressions. Fester, genuinely smitten, declares his everlasting devotion passionately and with great emotion, embodying true, if naive, love.
He's all in.
Totally. Meanwhile, Debbie offers a truly lackluster response, her eyes clearly on his fortune rather than his heart. It's almost like she's just in it for the money because, well, she is.
The audience is screaming at the screen.
Exactly. The humor here comes from our full awareness of Debbie's sinister intent, contrasted with Fester's oblivious adoration.
And on their honeymoon, Debbie wastes no time. Her first unsuccessful murder attempt, throwing a boombox into the bathtub while Fester is bathing.
Classic.
When this fails, she becomes more overt, more desperate. She forces him to cut ties with his beloved family, isolating him completely.
Which is devastating for Fester and the family.
Totally. The Addamses, trying to visit Fester and Debbie at their new, lavish home, are cruelly turned away. This leads to a deep disruption in the tight-knit family unit. And this familial separation is crucial because it sets the stage for a truly macabre and hilarious consequence.
And what's particularly fascinating here is how this disruption manifests itself, not just emotionally, but physically, in a wonderfully bizarre way.
Right, with Pubert.
Exactly. Pubert, the new baby, undergoes an alarming transformation. He turns into a blue-eyed, rosy-cheeked, and blonde-haired baby.
The horror, for the Addamses at least.
It's hilariously unsettling for them, yeah. They cherish paleness and a certain morbidity. Grandmama, with her wisdom of the macabre, attributes this unsettling normalcy to his disrupted family life. She directly links his physical change to the absence of his beloved Addams family.
That's amazing.
And this drives Gomez into a deep depression because the thought of a normal, healthy baby in their family is the ultimate horror for him. It's a wonderfully macabre detail that perfectly speaks to the film's unique humor. Normalcy is the true horror for the Addams and the source of their deepest anxieties.
Really flips everything on its head. Okay, so this all culminates in the grand climactic confrontation, right? A spectacularly over-the-top finale that perfectly encapsulates the film's tone.
Oh, it's fantastic. Debbie attempts to blow up their newly acquired mansion with Fester inside, but he miraculously survives, aided by Thing,
Girl Thing,
who proves himself a loyal and resourceful family member once again. After a brief separation, the family reunites at the Addams mansion, a really poignant moment of reconciliation. But the peace is short-lived.
because Debbie shows up.
Debbie dramatically arrives, utterly unhinged, holding them all at gunpoint and strapping them into electric chairs, preparing to exact her final petty revenge.
And this is where Joan Cusack truly shines, delivering just an absolutely iconic performance.
Unforgettable.
As Debbie prepares to dispatch them, she launches into this utterly unforgettable, self-pitying, and darkly hilarious monologue. She confesses her past murders, revealing the truly twisted yet ridiculously superficial psyche that drives her.
It's incredible.
She killed her parents, she explains, because on her 10th birthday, they gave her a Malibu Barbie instead of a ballerina Barbie.
The logic is just perfect. Perfectly awful.
And her first two husbands. For equally petty, materialistic reasons, like one didn't appreciate her desire for a certain golf course or something, it's a confession so absurd and shallow that it becomes brilliant satire, skewering the vapidness of consumerism and the entitlement of those who believe material possessions define their worth.
It's a masterclass in comedic villainy, finding humor in the darkest corners of human pettiness.
Absolutely. And as she's monologuing, completely oblivious to the irony of her grand declaration, the tension builds. Pubert, now miraculously restored to his normally pale and mustachioed self.
Which is a great visual cue, right? The family's balance is being restored.
Totally. He escapes from his grip with a knife, reaching the family via this series of improbable, almost cartoonish events that feel straight out of Looney Tunes short, but, with an Addams twist.
It's wonderfully absurd.
The dramatic climax is pure, unadulterated Addams family genius, a perfect culmination of the film's dark humor and absurdity. As Debbie triumphantly lowers the switch to electrocute the Addamses,
Here it comes.
Pubert, in a stroke of genius baby heroism, connects two loose wires. This reroutes the electrical current through her instead, causing her to be destroyed in spectacular fashion, leaving behind only a pile of ashes, her shoes, and her credit cards.
The credit cards, a perfect symbolic touch. The very means of her shallow existence becoming the means of the family's salvation. It's a fittingly macabre and utterly satisfying end for such a materialistic villain.
Couldn't have written it better. The aftermath sees the Addamses and their relatives gather to celebrate Pubert's first birthday. It's a joyous, albeit still unconventional occasion.
And Joel Glicker also attends, right? Which signals a beautiful continuity for the next generation of misfits and an acceptance of Joel into their unique fold.
Yeah, he's part of the family now, sort of. And Fester, in true Fester fashion, briefly laments Debbie's loss, sheds a single tear.
A very brief lament.
Very brief. But he's quickly smitten with dementia, a new nanny hired by Cousin Id and his wife Margaret. It just proves that Fester's heart and his susceptibility to love remains forever open.
Bless his heart.
And the very final scene leaves us with such a lasting macabre impression. It perfectly encapsulates Wednesday's character and the film's enduring tone.
In the family graveyard.
Right. Joel attempts to ask Wednesday out, trying to envision a future with her, maybe where they might eventually have children.
A bold move with Wednesday.
Very bold. But Wednesday, ever the pragmatist of darkness, gently but firmly turns him down. Her aspirations clearly lie elsewhere. She then offers this chilling yet insightful observation about Debbie, calling her a sloppy husband killer.
Oh, that line.
Wednesday, she tells Joel with this terrifying sincerity, would have scared her husband to death and made sure not to be caught.
Chilling.
And just as Joel lays flowers on Debbie's grave, a hand, presumably Debbie's, emerges from the earth and grabs him, prompting Wednesday to give this subtle, truly chilling, and utterly perfect smile as he screams.
It's the ideal, darkly humorous send-off. Reminds us that even in victory, the macabre undercurrent of the Addams family is never far from the surface.
Never. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. What's truly fascinating here is how much thought went into the film even before production began, shaping its satirical edge and distinctive voice. Let's delve into some of the production secrets and intentions behind Addams Family Values.
Yeah, and here's where it gets particularly insightful. The film's title itself, Family Values. This was actually a clever tongue-in-cheek reference by the writer Paul Rudnick, a direct shot at the political landscape of the early 1990s.
That's right. And to truly appreciate the film's biting wit, we need to briefly step back into the political landscape of 1992. That year, the then vice presidential candidate Dan Quayle ignited this huge national debate with a speech titled Reflections on Urban America.
I remember that speech.
Right. In that speech, Quayle notoriously blamed societal problems, like the Los Angeles riots, on a perceived breakdown of family values. He famously critiqued the TV character Murphy Brown for having a child out of wedlock.
It was a whole thing.
It was. So for Paul Rudnick to name a film about a murderous nanny, a baby with a mustache, and a summer camp revolt Addams Family Values, well, that was just a masterstroke of understated, brilliant political commentary.
It's really clever when you know the context.
It is. And it didn't really take sides, or preach. It just held this darkly humorous mirror up to the absurdity of rigid, narrowly defined notions of family values. It kind of suggested that perhaps the Addams, with their unconditional if unconventional love, embodied true family values more authentically than those who publicly espouse them.
Indeed. It adds a crucial layer of context to the film's satirical edge, showing it was far more than just a simple comedy. In terms of the actual production, filming began in Los Angeles on February 8, 1993.
Okay.
And those distinctive Camp Chippewa scenes with their bright, almost blindingly cheerful aesthetic, they were actually shot at Sequoia National Park, specifically Sequoia Lake, located in California's majestic Sierra Nevada mountains.
Wow. Beautiful location for such a chaos.
Right. The contrast between the natural grandeur of the setting and the forced artificiality of the camp just further amplified the film's satirical humor.
Makes sense. It's also important, though, to touch on a somber detail during production that adds that layer of poignancy to the film. Angelica Houston, who played Morticia, she shared a poignant recollection.
About Raul Julia.
Yeah, that it became increasingly clear during filming that Raul Julia's health was deteriorating. She noted that he had trouble eating and was losing weight.
That's heartbreaking to hear.
It is, and it's just heartbreaking to realize that he tragically died less than a year after the film's release on October 24, 1994. This knowledge certainly adds that layer of gravitas to his already passionate and captivating performance as Gomez. He truly gave his all, and his vibrant portrayal is a testament to his dedication, leaving behind such a memorable legacy in his final major theatrical role.
Absolutely. Moving on to the film's music, which was largely led by Mark Shaman, there's a surprising and often misunderstood detail involving a very, very famous musician, Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah, the Michael Jackson connection.
Right. He was actually slated to feature a song in the film called Family Thing. This is a fascinating piece of trivia that many are unaware of, and its absence led to quite a bit of speculation at the time.
It truly is. And a lot of rumors swirled around why the song was ultimately removed from the film, didn't they? With many primarily linking it to the child sexual abuse allegations against Jackson that surfaced around that time.
That was the common assumption.
Yeah. However, our source material clarifies that the real official reason for its removal was due to contractual differences with Paramount Pictures, the studio distributing the film. It wasn't those allegations.
So it's a business issue.
Exactly. It's a business decision, not a moral one,
Yeah.
in terms of the film's release. The song, interestingly, has since been leaked online. So for those curious, you can actually find it and hear what could have been part of the Addams Family Values soundtrack.
That's interesting. What's particularly fascinating here, though, is that even without his song, Jackson is directly referenced within the film itself. It adds another layer to the Harmony Hut's satirical purpose.
How so?
There's a poster advertising his 1992 single Heal the World, displayed prominently in the Harmony Hut, which, perhaps unsurprisingly, horrifies Joel.
Of course it does.
It's a subtle yet brilliant nod, turning a message of universal peace into another symbol of forced, saccharine wholesomeness that repels our protagonists. It's a nuanced detail that just reinforces the film's cleverness and its comedic targets.
That's great. Okay, now let's turn our attention to the business side and the critical reception. Because this is where Addams Family Values presents a truly interesting tale of discrepancy, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
It's a prime example of a film that experienced this significant disconnect between its initial commercial performance and its lasting critical and cultural impact.
Financially, its box office performance was, well, frankly, a mixed bag, especially when you compare it to its blockbuster predecessor.
Right, the first one made a lot more money.
It did open strong, though. It hit #1 at the U.S. box office in its opening weekend with over $14 million. A promising start.
Okay.
However, that initial success was pretty short-lived. It quickly dropped in ranking in subsequent weeks, finding itself overshadowed by other major releases like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Tough competition.
Very. Its final domestic gross was $48.9 million, which was a significant decline from the first film's impressive $113.5 million.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big drop.
It is. While it did pull in an additional $62 million internationally, bringing its worldwide total to $110.9 million, it still didn't quite live up to the commercial expectations set by the original. It led to it being perceived as, a financial underperformer, at least on paper.
Yet when we look at the critical response, it's an entirely different picture. It's almost like a cinematic Cinderella story, isn't it?
It really is. Addams Family Values was well received by critics, garnering significantly better reviews than the first film.
Which is incredibly rare for a sequel. They often face such an uphill battle with critics who tend to be skeptical of follow-ups. What do you think contributed to that disparity between the audience turnout and critical praise?
That's a fascinating question. And director Barry Sonnenfeld himself actually weighed in on this, which we can maybe delve into more later. But the critical consensus truly stands out. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a solid 75% approval rating, with an average rating of 6.7 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And the site's critical consensus powerfully states, new, well-developed characters add dimension to this batty satire, creating a comedy much more substantial than the original.
Deep, more substantial. That's key.
Exactly. Metacritic gave it a generally favorable score of 61 out of 100, based on 21 critics. And audiences, surveyed by CinemaScore, gave it a B+. That's actually an improvement over the first film's B grade.
Interesting. So even if fewer people saw it initially, those who did often liked it more.
Seems that way.
Let's dive into some specific critical insights, because they truly highlight what resonated with reviewers and why this film was considered, a cut above. Janet Maslin of the New York Times, for example, she initially wondered if the sequel was going to be sheer drudgery, given the challenges of follow-ups.
A valid concern.
Right, but she quickly answered herself, writing that there was simply too much glee on the screen for it to be anything but delightful. She praised the perfect cast and visual conception, and significantly, Paul Rudnick's delightfully arch, subversive humor, pinpointing the screenplay as a major strength.
So she really got the humor.
Yeah, her review underscores the film's intelligence and how its comedic approach truly landed with discerning critics.
Leonard Clady of Variety, another influential voice, was maybe a bit less enthusiastic about the plot itself. He noted it was perilously slim in the story department, perhaps referring to the somewhat episodic nature of the three main threads.
Okay.
However, he still acknowledged that it glided over the thin ice with technical razzle-dazzle and an exceptionally winning cast. This suggests that even if some found the narrative a bit light, the sheer brilliance of the performances, the visual style, and the overall execution were enough to win them over, maybe mask any perceived narrative weaknesses.
Right, the style and the actors carried it.
Richard Schickel, writing for Time, offered a less enthusiastic view. He called it an essentially lazy movie, too often settling for easy gags and special effects that don't come to any really funny point.
Okay. So not everyone loved it.
No, and while his was certainly a minority opinion among critics, it's worth noting just for a balanced perspective. It seems he might have missed the deeper satirical layers, maybe interpreting the film's deliberate absurdity as just laziness, which can be a common misstep when a film's humor is truly, out there.
Yeah, maybe it just didn't click for him. And then we have the legendary Siskel and Ebert. Their contrasting views on this film are quite interesting, especially since both of them had actually disliked the first Addams Family film.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Gene Siskel gave Addams Family Values a mixed review. He accused director Barry Sonnenfeld of prioritizing visuals over jokes, suggesting a lack of comedic substance.
Okay, so similar to Claddy in some ways.
Kind of. But Roger Ebert, in a rare turn for a sequel, gave it 3 stars out of 4. He declared it a rare sequel that is better than its original. He specifically enjoyed its various subplots, finding them enriching and contributing to a richer, more engaging narrative.
Wow, so Ebert was fully on board.
He was. This highlights how some critics immediately grasped the film's shift in ambition and its deeper comedic and satirical targets, even if others, like Siskel, were less convinced by its new direction.
It really divided some key critics then.
It seems so. The film also received some notable accolades, though, further solidifying its critical standing and highlighting its artistic achievements. It earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Art Direction.
For the look of the film.
Exactly. A significant recognition of its distinctive visual design, which helped bring that macabre world to life. It ultimately lost to the stark realism of Schindler's List, but still an Oscar nomination.
That's big recognition.
And Angelica Houston's reprisal of Morticia, a performance truly embodying the character, earned her another Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress, Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. That followed her nomination for the first film, demonstrating her consistent excellence in the role.
She was just perfect as Morticia.
Agreed. And in a fun, contrasting detail that kind of speaks to its quirky nature, it even won a Golden Raspberry Award.
A Razzie? For what?
For Worst Original Song, for the tag team track, Addams Family Won't.
Oh, right. That song. Okay, that makes sense. Probably wasn't the film's fault, really. More a reflection of 90s pop culture.
Probably. It was also nominated for AFI's 100 Years .100 Last List, highlighting its comedic significance in American cinema. And perhaps most tellingly, and a true testament to its growing reputation, Playboy ranked it at #15 on its 2016 list of 15 sequels that are way better than the originals.
Number 15. That's high praise, isn't it? Especially given the general disdain for many sequels.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And it leads us perfectly into discussing the film's lasting legacy, how a film that initially underperformed commercially has truly grown into this beloved cult classic.
Yeah, the director, Barry Sonnenfeld, actually recalled his initial disappointment in the film's box office performance. He stated, "I think the first film is more romantic and the second film is funnier."
Interesting distinction.
And he attributed the lower box office not to the film's quality, but directly to the marketing. He felt it was so similar to the first one that people didn't think it was going to be any value added.
So people thought it was just more of the same.
That was his theory. He specifically wanted to push the pubert of it all and the fester of it all in the marketing campaign, implying that the unique, maybe more outlandish elements of the sequel weren't highlighted enough for potential audiences.
That makes sense.
It really raises an important question, doesn't it, about how a film's initial reception, especially commercially, can differ so greatly from its long-term impact and its eventual critical reevaluation. It's a fascinating case study in how perception evolves over time.
Totally. And that reevaluation is precisely what has happened. In the decades since its release, Addams Family Values has been reassessed with retrospective acclaim. It's truly grown on people, hasn't it?
It really has. What was once a source of somewhat mixed commercial reception has now become widely lauded for its sharp, dark humor, and satire.
It's almost as if the film was ahead of its time, finding its true audience years later, an audience that recognized its bold satirical bite and unique comedic voice.
Yeah, it almost anticipated a shift in comedic taste, maybe paving the way for darker, more nuanced humor in mainstream cinema.
Hmm. This retrospective praise also extends specifically and quite profoundly to the iconic performances. Christina Ricci's Wednesday Addams, already a fan favorite from the first film, continued to receive significant acclaim for her deadpan delivery, that chilling intensity, and her unwavering conviction in her macabre worldview.
She owned that role.
Her portrayal became so iconic that it's often seen as the definitive live-action Wednesday, influencing countless interpretations and becoming a touchstone for morbidly witty characters. But perhaps even more so, Joan Cusack's Debbie Jellinsky has truly become a standout, a comedic villain for the ages.
Absolutely. Cusack's performance is now often cited as a masterclass in comedic villainy, a tour de force of over-the-top melodrama blended with chilling sociopathy.
She's incredible.
Her character is a source of several memes and tribute videos on YouTube dedicated to her performance, which really showcases her enduring cultural footprint. What makes Debbie so captivating is Cusack's ability to imbue her with this terrifying sincerity, making her absurd motivations feel utterly logical to her.
Right, she believes her own hype.
Exactly. Her physical comedy, her vocal inflections, the sheer commitment to the character's delusion. It creates a villain who is both genuinely threatening and hysterically funny. She perfectly embodies the film's critique of superficiality, demonstrating how outward perfection can mask profound, almost childish malevolence.
She really steals every scene she's in. And the film's continued presence and growing recognition are evident in its home media releases, too.
Right. While initial VHS and DVD releases back in 2000 were apparently somewhat sparse in special features, maybe showing a lack of initial confidence in its enduring appeal by the studio.
Yeah, maybe they didn't realize what they had yet.
Could be. But it was re-released in 2006 alongside the first film on a single disc, signaling renewed interest. Then, in October 2019, it finally debuted on the Blu-ray format as part of a double feature. That really demonstrates its continued demand and the growing recognition of its brilliance as a standalone film.
It's a true testament to its staying power, isn't it? Evolving from just a quirky sequel into a cherished cult classic that consistently finds new generations of fans.
It really has carved out its own space. So we've taken a fascinating deep dive into Addams Family Values. We've revealed its sharp satire, its surprising journey from box office underperformer to cult classic, and the enduring power of its uniquely macabre humor and unforgettable characters.
Yeah, it's a prime example of a film that truly found its audience and maybe its deeper meaning over time.
So what does this all mean for us, the audience? Addams Family Values kind of asks us to reconsider what family values truly means, doesn't it?
It really does. It challenges those conventional notions of normalcy and happiness. It suggests that sometimes the most devoted, honest, and truly unconditional love can be found in the darkest, most unconventional corners, rather than in the saccharine forced cheer of the mainstream.
Mm-hmm. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, how does a film so ahead of its time in its subversive humor, its biting social critique, and its truly unforgettable character portrayals manage to not only stand the test of time, but also grow exponentially in critical and popular appreciation?
That's the big question, isn't it? Perhaps it's a testament to the power of daring to be truly different, of embracing the unique, and of finding the profound in the peculiar.
It could be. It certainly wasn't afraid to be itself.
Not at all. We invite you, the listener, to revisit Addams Family Values with these new insights and perhaps discover your own aha moments about its enduring brilliance and its surprisingly insightful take on what it means to be a family.